Leave the World Behind 100% was a warning and not just a movie. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of That's Insane with Aja. Today, I'm going to be going over Leave the World Behind, and we're going to be talking about exactly what real world instances have turned out to be literally true from the movie. So, if you are here today, March 26, 2024, then you are aware of the mass chaos that happened with the Key Bridge in Baltimore, where a cargo ship literally, we still don't know what happened, okay? But the cargo ship was said to maybe lose power and the rudders, they lost control and it crashed right into the Key Bridge, to which they are saying they don't even know how many casualties there were because they can only account for the construction workers, right? There's no way to account for the people that may have been driving over the bridge, driving under the bridge. But nevertheless, I have been keeping a detailed record of everything that Leave the World Behind was correct about. Because if you are not familiar with my TikTok, then you wouldn't know that before the movie came out, I told you that Barack Obama was creating this movie that we all need to pay attention to, and that it was going to be about the apocalypse. And then when the movie came out, I dissected it, did a TikTok. You guys ate it up, and it got like 12 million views. And ever since then, we have literally been going through the steps of this movie, and I do not think it's a coincidence. Let's make that clear. So, of course, I'm a conspiracy theorist. This is what I do. I think logically. I use my discernment, and I share it with you guys because you guys are my community. So, first things first, let's get started with where the movie started in the first place. The first opening scene was the cargo ship, right? And when the cargo ship appeared at a long, long ways away, it basically was like the tide that brought in all the stuff that happened when it pertained to the apocalypse, right? So we see this opening scene, and the opening scene, if you haven't seen the movie, it's just a cargo ship comes in, washes up on sea. The cargo ship has a name, and boom, 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 boom. Domino effect, right? So I was explaining to people why we need to pay attention to this in the first place, because Obama made it. And I heard about it from the directors saying that Obama scared the crap out of them because the movie and the details of the script were so lifelike. And Obama literally said he used his information and knowledge as president. And that's everything from protocol to what would you do in these type of situations. And what was so crazy is I'm thinking it's going to be like a normal apocalypse. No, it was basically about cyber attacks. So in the movie, the cargo ship crashes, from what we can understand, was a major cyber attack. And you guys know how, like, right now people are eating conspiracy theories up. I mean, I am getting told go touch grass. And during the movie, there is conspiracy theorists all throughout the movie, and they're saying, like, don't believe her. Oh, he's just a crazy man who's been saying this. You know, where's your tinfoil hat, right? And now here we are, and people like me are trying to point these things out to people who don't know, and you guys just still don't want to know. So nevertheless, that ship malfunctioned because of a cyber attack, right? And it washed up on the beach and whatever. So now here we are. And the footage so far of what we can see that happened at the Key Bridge is actually a cargo ship container. And the comparisons of how they look is actually uncanny to how similar they look in the movie and to the actual cargo ship. But what makes this more crazy is the cargo ship crashed at 1:28 in the morning. It crashed at exactly 1:28 in the morning. I mean, there's extensive footage down to the T. And do you guys know what the numbers were on the side of the cargo ship in the movie Leave the World Behind? 812. Obama, I don't know. Something's not right about how 1:28 in the morning correlates to the number of the ship 812. Very sketch. But in the video where we watched this shipping container crash into the Key Bridge, the lights go out, and instead of the bridge keeping on course, it literally changes direction and crashes right into the center pillar of the bridge that's holding the entire bridge up. Now, people are saying it was intentional. It was not intentional because you can literally see that the bridge, and you can see the bridge, the cars going across it. You can see the cargo ship. The cargo ship actually loses power. The power goes out on the cargo ship, and there you are. The captain cannot control the rudders. They cannot communicate because they have no power, and the power stays out all the way into the crash, and it never really returns because after that it's major total destruction. So what I'm thinking, this is a Singaporean ship. I mean, rumors are speculating that this had to be an attack, like someone had to put the grid down on the ship. I mean, it could have been anything. The ship could have but I have never seen, unless it was the Titanic, a ship has never lost power like that. So that's going to be where I start with this whole ordeal of how Leave the World Behind was a warning and not just a movie, like I've been saying from the beginning. So not only did that happen, right? So the start of Leave the World Behind, we have the bridge. Now we're going bridge for bridge, right? Oh, it's just a coincidence. I don't think a lot of people know that in the movie there was a scene where things got completely dark. Okay, and I honestly think that's a reference to the eclipse that's gonna happen on the 8th next month. Actually, next week on Sunday, 2 Sundays away. Yeah. You guys probably missed that, but yeah, it was like complete darkness, and they heard these noises. And let's talk about the progression of the scenes and how the family, after, while the cargo ship is crashing, they're out of town, right? So they're out of town, and when they try to go back into town, they are completely blocked from going into town. I think that is such a big thing, because if the Key Bank Bridge, which is the main source besides 2 tunnels of transportation in Baltimore, and Baltimore is in the path of totality for this eclipse, where they are saying they are running into cellular issues. There are going to be issues with traffic, and you have the National Guard coming out, food shortages, and they're saying that there's going to be gridlock traffic. Do you see the connection? The same way that the family was blocked from going into the city of New York and Leave the World Behind directly correlates to how 2 major bridges have been cut off a certain sector of people in Maryland. And if that's not crazy, just keep watching. So not only do you have that, right? So I don't know if you guys have been seeing what's going on with Boeing, and how literally the CEO and owner of Boeing has officially stepped down as the president and surrendered his title over the company, because we had a whistleblower come out about Boeing. And it seems like when that whistleblower came out, it was like, oh, okay, he's just talking, and then boom, a freaking panel flies off the side of a Boeing airplane mid-flight, and Boeing, the whole company, just starts, the planes, 737s, are acting up, baby. They are going to complete dust, right? And then boom, we have the whistleblower die. Do you guys remember in Leave the World Behind how they could not get in contact with the wife because she was on a plane and was supposed to meet them there by plane? Do you guys remember when the dad was on the beach where he went to look around, and the freaking plane came crashing onto the beach? Almost like the same way that the plane just crashed mid-flight because of a massive fuel leak that happened while the plane was taking off. It just went boop, and it had to land or go back down. So I don't think you guys understand what symbols are, and I feel like the boat was a symbol, along with the plane crashing was definitely a symbol about how there was going to be a massive breakdown with the aviation, right? There is a massive problem with our flight system right now. And I don't know if they're using 737s as a scapegoat to something bigger, but it's not a coincidence that this movie came out in December. And since December, we are only January, February, March, April, May. We haven't even made it to May yet. We're not even 5 months into this entire year, and everything in that movie has already. So That's just two things, and there are so many more. So next, what I want to talk about is how there was these people, right? The main characters were trying to get out of the city, right? They, oh, something's not right. We're seeing a whole bunch of animals everywhere. They were trying to get out of the city, and they couldn't get out of the city. Why? Because Teslas were literally driving themselves into one another to the point where they had blocked the pathway all the way in the city and out of the city, right? And what was the first thing that happened after that movie came out? Tesla has a recall. Tesla still has a major recall because of the autopilot system malfunctioning. And in the movie, she literally reads the description on the window and it says self-driving autopilot. And they were very specific, right? These were Teslas that were on autopilot because you have to think, Teslas are technology. What stops them from being hijacked like any other piece of technology? Literally, and in the entire movie, you have the people like, oh, this is those people across the seas. This is who, this is that. And they're seen as the people with the tinfoil hats. And it comes down to it, they were absolutely correct. They were correct. So you have these Teslas that are blocking people from leaving the cities and blocking people from coming into the cities. And then not even 2 days later, you had this major issue with Teslas where they were literally being recalled for faulty autopilot systems. And now we are a couple months past that, and Tesla stocks have dropped tremendously. And Tesla is still having like a multitude of issues to the point where they're getting sued. And that's why I don't think these are coincidence that Obama put in this movie. Like, you have to be very specific about where you get ideas. And one thing about it is everyone's saying it's a book. It's a book. It was a book written a long time ago. I know that book didn't have Teslas in it. I know that. He had to still pick out what modern day or real world references he wanted to use and use his extensive knowledge of being a president, like he said. I'm not going tit for tat with nobody, okay? Because I know what I know. So after you have the Teslas literally in the scene, boom, 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 going into each other, and the lady's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? He talks about one of my most interesting things I heard. He talks about the Evil Cabal, right? They're sitting there, they're drinking wine. It looks a little weird because they both have other partners, and it was just very weird for them to be doing that. To me, that is like modern day America. If you ever work with someone and see how they act at work, and you're like, oh my God, you have a husband, you have a wife. Yeah, that's what that was given. Anyway, so he's talking to her. He's like, his accountant took a whole bunch of money, right? His accountant withdrew a bunch of money, or the person, not his account, but the person he was an accountant for, withdrew a very large amount of money. And he was like, oh, is it time for that? I thought the time for the annual ski trip with the Cabal wasn't until December. And he said that the colleague didn't joke with him, didn't give a, ha ha he he. And the only thing that man said was, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. You guys, what do we see going on right now? The Evil Cabal, right? We have seen so much. Like, they are trying to ban an app because they are so frightened about cyber attacks. Lo and behold, they are the people stealing data. Did you guys see what was going on with Google and YouTube, and how they made people give out data about the US American based on what videos they watched? Anyway, so the Evil Cabal has been exposed from Bohemian Grove all the way to child actors and everything that the higher-ups are doing, including Pope Francis at the Vatican. Like, that's a whole nother story. But the Evil Cabal and his friend, his colleague who took all this money, which people are doing right now. Like, if you look at stocks, everyone is pulling their money out of stocks or selling their stocks. Like, everyone is either taking their money, basically everyone's taking their money out of their bank. We are literally having people who can't pay their rent. Like, that was also represented in Leave the World Behind. And that's why the man knew to go to his vacation house in the first place. What average U.S. American has a safe house? This isn't Spy Kids, all right? We lucky to have the houses that we have right now. So That was a major like red flag for me when he talked about the Evil Cabal, because a lot of movies do not talk about the Evil Cabal. The Evil Cabal does not make it past the movies. It doesn't make it to the movies unless it's like a Catholic evil priest is performing an exorcism. Yeah, no, the Evil Cabal was in this movie, and they made it known that they do things and operate on a different jurisdiction, and that everybody was going to their island. Everyone pulled out money to go to their island. Think about how many people started disappearing and we can't find them. Shoot, Diddy's on an island right now. Let's talk about it. And that was like the biggest flag to me, to be like, okay, all right. And so later down the line, they get to the use of U.S. currency. You know how they're saying the U.S. dollar has been trumping for so long? And you see that man arguing back and forth. He's like, I got cash. I got cash if you help my son for Lyme disease. Lyme disease. He was trying to give him cash, and cash is king. And in this economy right now, they're telling everybody to take their money out the banks. Money out the bank. Right? Keep cash on you. And what the movie comes down to is either you're going to be the conspiracy theorist, which is the guy running around saying everything is wrong, this is these people, and the whole movie you're like, oh my god, something sinister is happening. What is going on? Where are we going with this? Is it a vampire? Are the deers killing people? Are people getting eaten? And then boom, the man comes out and says, I overheard a colleague talking about a cyber attack, but I didn't think it was going to be done, and it had to be executed in a certain amount of steps. And after he argued with that man about helping his son with Lyme disease, the man that he's known for a long time, right? He said that first it would start with shutting out all communications. I mean, how many solar storms are we having right now? This solar eclipse is going to shut down a lot of cell towers. They say that in the news. I don't know about your Wi-Fi and all that. Mine has been really, really bad, right? So first he says they're going to cut off all communication. You're not going to be able to talk. And then they're going to incite like a sound, right? There was this sound that was being played. And then it would ultimately end up in civil war. Do you guys not see what's going on in Texas? Do you guys not see what's going on at the border? There are literally people in NYC walking around punching women in the face. We are literally out here fending for ourselves when it comes to food, water, energy, and our family. You have children who are now like being exploited to the point online where you have other people mad about it. Like it was basically, the whole movie was about another country instilling civil war in the US and causing this controlled downfall of the US. That's what I got from it. And ever since then, you had them try to ban TikTok, which I know for sure some people are going to show up at the White House and cause some civil problems. We can't pay our rent, but you want to ban TikTok? Crazy work. Crazy. Absolutely despicable. The whole realm of the movie wasn't anything sinister like a ghost or a ghoul. It was inevitably about civil war and humans fighting humans. And if we're fighting over resources, that's pretty much the basic necessity of all war. Well, not all war, but that will be a civil war. The fight over necessity, the fight over land, the fight over right, the fight over people trying to be treated as regular human beings. Yeah. So if you think Leave the World Behind was a joke, I say you need to take it as a warning. Because it was a warning. There's no amount. We have the Teslas, we have the boats, we have everything from the plane crash, the cyber attacks, and inevitably the movie even came out after that, was called Civil War. And it talked about a civil war starting in Texas, and then here we are, people are fighting in Texas at the border, to where you have truckers going to the border of Eagle Pass, Texas. Someone should tell them you need to go to El Paso, Texas. They were at the wrong Texas. Yeah, they weren't going to try that in El Paso. But nevertheless, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for joining another episode of That's Insane with Aja. I'm happy to see you guys here next time. And for any more updates, check my TikTok, as I always post on there daily. And I try to do this weekly. You guys have a good one. Stay crazy. Bye.